Dear students, I welcome you all for the online learning platform for the course Warehousing Automation. So this presentation will take us to the unit 4 and within which the chapter 4 will be discussing. So unit 4 deals with decision making process in warehousing automation, and the chapter 4 will be dealing with technology selection and investment decisions. So before we get into the further discussions, we'll recall the things what we learned in the earlier presentations as on unit 4. So unit 4 basically it discusses about the decision making process in warehousing automation. So what is a decision? What is a decision making process? What are the different steps available in it? And we learnt about the nature of decisions. It is not supposed to be a emotional based, it is supposed to be a logical as well as some rational based decisions need to be carried out. So these all are the things what we learnt in the initial portion. Then the second thing discussed about the decision support system, how a decision support system DSS should be developed, how it is supposed to be designed and how it is supposed to be implemented based on that need necessity we just discussed. Then the next presentation took us to the business goals and objectives. On what basis the business goals has to be set, how the objectives has to be set so that a proper decision can be arrived. Why? Because the cost function is involved at all walks of the engineering activity. So the need and necessity was discussed in detail. Now this presentation will take us to the technology selection and investment decisions. Okay. So with this basic recap, we'll just get to the presentation. Technology selection and investment decisions. See, before we get into any sort of automation activity, so the basic thing what we need to understand is the organization should improve its technological capability with some sort of strategic business goals. Why? Because strategic and analytical approach are quite essential in order to improve the returns. So this is very important. Why? Because the market is highly competitive. So the competition, we need to sustain in the competition with good amount of returns. So returns can here be maybe in the form of orders or by means of finance. So now how technology and how the investment in the technology can take us to this particular situation. So that is the core understanding what we should have. Okay. So before I get into it, let me give you a very simple example. So based on that, we can go ahead with the further understanding. See, a clear understanding is quite essential when we learn such an important as well as advanced topic, which we are never came across, especially from a managerial perspective. See, there is a company which does business of say some 1 lakh rupee per month. Now, they wanted to change their manufacturing setup to a latest or an advanced concept. Now, should there be any sort of correlation between the level of investment what they do versus the technology upgradation what they are interested as of now? Means yes, there is supposed to be a relation. Now a traditional CNC machine is there. Now we wanted that traditional CNC machine to be replaced by a CNC machine. Okay, traditional CNC with an advanced automated CNC. So now what is the cost difference incurred here has to be nicely thought of. Now the business level what they do is 1 lakh. Okay, the machine what you wanted to install is 1 crore. Okay, now will they be able to do a successful business? Means obviously the answer is no. Why? Because the investment capability is so heavy. It is not high, it is heavy for the organization. So that is the thing why we should have a mutual balance between the technology what we select versus the investment what we intend to do. Okay, so that balancing has to be taken care. So that knowledge is essential for each one of us for the technology adoption in the context of warehouse. Okay, so with this basic example and understanding, now we'll go for the further presentation. Key factors influencing the technology selections. So organization must evaluate both internal and external factors to make informed technology choices. So in the sense, what is internal and external factors means, once when we bring some technology inside an organization, okay, how it is going to directly affect the interior. That is, interior means the space, the power requirements, the availability of manpower, everything has to be thought of. That is internal factors. External factors means once you bring, you should have a sophisticated maintenance mechanism to carry out for this particular setup. So now that will be, for that we may to depend on some third party, or we should rely upon some other technological related support from other people, say for example some programming point of view, like that. So that has to be taken care of. Why? Because business is going to directly influence. Business is directly going to get affected because of this. So you have got a very good CNC machine, but you don't have an operator to operate it. Now can we gain benefit out of it? Means obviously the answer is no. So that has to be now taken care in a very prompt case. Why? Because having invested so much amount of money, you don't have operator to do, means again that is going to be a failure mechanism. Now the second case, external factor. See, everything is working, you have got an operator, you have got a programmer, everything, the machine is doing well, but there is a small maintenance activity, nobody is there, so some third party maintenance has to be done. Nowhere people in and around Chennai, people are not available. Somewhere from a foreign country or somewhere from north side, the people should come, means till then the machine will be idling. So again that is also not accepted. So such things has to be taken care. Okay, so in continuation to it, the strategic alignment. The technology must align with the organization's overarching mission and strategic goals. See, earlier presentation we just learnt about business goals and objectives. Now the organization is having its own objective, its own goal. Now the technology what you adopt or what you wish to incorporate should obviously have a very good association with respect to the organization's mission and vision. Okay, then only this particular technology what we have brought in will act as a catalyst in order to reach the vision and mission of the organization. So that alignment has to be thought of. And coming for the third factor, cost analysis. See, why cost analysis is very essential means, see, at any point of time the organization, the company will look into its business. So business means it is going to be associated with respect to cost. See, initially we need to spend, then we need to get some sort of governmental permissions if necessary, then installation cost is there, then maintenance, say AMC or something like that we have to take care, operational expenses. So likewise, crucial amount plays a very important role as far as cost is concerned. So therefore we should be in a position to justify it in a very prompt way. The cost what involved should be justified with respect to the revenue, with respect to the income what the machine generates. So that has to be thought of. The third factor, return on investment. So we solved several problems, numerical problems in this regard when we discussed about the return on investment in the earlier units. So the moment when we bring up a unit or when we bring up a component or a machine into our organization, the ROI calculation starts right from day one. So the money what we have invested on that particular machine, so the organization is highly interested to retrieve the amount what it has invested over that particular machine for a limited period of time. Okay, within a limited period of time, that amount what we have invested should be taken back. Okay, the reason for taking out back is then only will be in a position to do expansion in the future cases. Say some other new machine, similar machine, another machine has to be purchased, or another plant has to be developed, or some sort of R&D is essential. So for that we can't rely on investment. So ROI should be one crucial factor here. Okay, so without compromising the quality, revenue should be in a properly justified manner so that we can develop the system or the setup for the future cases. Competitive advantage, the next factor. Technology can differentiate a company by improving operational efficiency, creating new products and services, or enhancing the customer experiences. See, any activity we do, any business we do, obviously a competitor will be there. A competitor will be existing in the market. So now the focus is, so when the organization brings in some new technology, so when the company incorporates new technology, So obviously there should be a visible difference with respect to operational efficiency, the quality of services as well as customer experience or the delight. So therefore, in a public point of view, it should be differentiating itself because of this technology. So even that factor has to be taken care. User adoption. A technology success obviously depends on user friendliness and employee buy-in. An intuitive solution will adequate training will maximize its value. So user adoption is one very crucial or interesting term. So let me give you an example. See, somebody would have taught us how to drive a cycle. Somebody would have taught us definitely how to drive a two-wheeler, and definitely we would have been to a driving school to learn about a four-wheeler. Now my question is, who taught us to use a mobile phone? So how do we know the concept of operating a mobile phone? See, definitely we would have not read the operational manual. The moment you switch on an intuitive basis, intuition will tell us how to go ahead with maybe some say how to go ahead with a screenshot or something, very minute applications we would have learned from other resources, maybe from a friend or from an expert or from an online resources. But on a general case, each one of us, maybe by means of our own intelligence, we would have been in a position to operate a mobile phone. So that is how the technology should be. So user adoption with no major difficulty. But in an industrial specific application, yes, some sort of external training is essential, but still they should be in a position to adopt everything within the least possible time. So even that has to be considered. Not an exhaustive training involving some 6 months or 1 year. Operator should do some courses. No, nothing should be. Okay. So as easy it should be. So that is how, even that is also a platform what has to be considered for the selection. Now technical factors. See, so far what we saw was with respect to the business related thing. Now technical related thing. The first thing is compatibility. Okay. So next presentation, that is, we'll be learning a lot about the optimal selection strategy. So there compatibility plays a very crucial role. So the technology what you adopt should be an integral part of the existing system. Within the existing available system, it should be there, so that the installation is going to affect in a very minimized scale. So that is the crucial understanding of compatibility. Then scalability. So today we are having only one part or one particular line who has been incorporated with this activity. So tomorrow in the sense in the near future, so we should be in a position to increase in an exponential cases. So that's how the technology should support us. It should ease us the process of scalability. So today for 1000 components alone we did. So tomorrow that will be taken care for the next 10,000 or 15,000. So we'll be escalating the need. So the technology should be smoothly be adopted in order to incorporate all sorts of changes. Security. The technology must be stringent to meet security standards and compliance requirements to protect sensitive data and prevent cyber threats. So today we knew the exponential growth of the cloud, the internet related activities. Cyber security is also a greatest threat. So we have developed all sorts of systems, but the system is prone to hacking. So obviously the expected outcome will not be achieved. Definitely there is going to be a difficulty as far as application is concerned. So that has to be taken care. Then vendor evaluation. Vendor's reputation for support, reliability and security is a crucial consideration. See, as an industry, we will not be in a position to develop our own products. So we will be depending on some supplier. Some supplier is none other than the vendor. So we should think, or we should consider their history, past history of performance. So will they be able to support us as far as service is concerned? Whether will we be getting the spare parts in the least possible time? And later on they should not give up, a big detail, big answer for some non-compliance in this regard. So everything should be thought of at the initial stages itself. Future proofing. So access if the technology and its provider are future focused and likely to stay relevant in a rapidly evolving market. Say one simple case is we have purchased a technology having done all sorts of evaluation, and after some 1 month or so that supplier has completely shut down their business. Now they are not engaging themselves in the business. They don't have, they never had any sort of future plans and they shut down their business. Now how will we be able to take up this particular scenario if some sort of failure is there in the newly purchased technology? The supplier, the company itself is not existing. So again, will not be in a position to take or carry forward this particular technology. So we should be prepared to know the future perspectives of the vendor whom we have chosen. So another important factors what we need to consider. So the process of technology investment and selection should be a systematic, step-by-step approach, improves decision confidence and aligns technology choices with long-term financial goals. So this is an interesting part. So step by step we are going to do everything is in a very systematic case, and the very important thing is it should be a long-term one, not a short term. So long-term one it should be. So define objectives and requirements. Outline the business problems the technology should solve, the goals of investment and key evaluation criteria. So all these things to be taken care. See, actually there are several DSS tools are there. So we learned in the second half of unit 4 to go ahead with the application of technology and other things. So there we'll discuss a lot. Okay. So there we'll see about a SWOT analysis, or we'll get into the further parts of implementation and other things. So that is the focus what we should have in this regard. Research options. See, why research option comes into an industry related activity means the first foremost reason is, see, we brought some sort of technology. The technology should improve with respect to KPI. So then we are supposed to do some sort of research. Now there is a very good CNC machine is there, but loading of the part is done manually and unloading of the part is manually done. So it is not in a very consistent case. So now what is the thing we wanted to do is, say we wanted to incorporate a robot. We wanted the robot to be a part of the machine so that the loading and unloading is taken care of by the robot within a least possible second, within some microseconds or so. So then the organization should do some sort of R&D in this regard. So the technology what we adopt should support us in this regard. Okay, it should be, there should be some platform for R&D. So for that, conduct detailed analysis, perform cost benefit analysis. See, one point you can understand, at any point of time cost comes into picture. Okay, though we are not focusing from an engineering perspective, we never focus on cost, but since business is involved in this case, obviously cost comes into picture. When you wanted to do scalability, cost comes into picture. When you wanted to think of compatibility, cost comes into picture. Security, cyber security, cost comes into picture. So always this particular point is going to be hovered all over. So therefore the focus should be on the cost, though that is not highly prioritized, but that is one of a criteria. Engage stakeholders. So before I get into the understanding, see, when we buy a technology or when we are in the process of considering a technology, not the purchase department, not the engineering department alone involved into the process. Call the design people. Okay, form a multifunction team. So this team should be from all parts of the industry, from maintenance, from marketing, okay, from engineering, from design, from maintenance, from quality. So all the people should be there and collect their opinion, even IT, even finance, collect their opinion. See, we can't blindly discard that they are non-engineering departments. Finance is a non-engineering department. Why? What is their role? No, don't do in such a haphazard way. Consider them to be the part of the process and get their opinion. Okay, before you buy in. During the discussions, not at the preliminary discussions, but during the core technical discussions, ask the form a multifunctional team, let the team be a part of it and let them come out with some good classical solutions. Now some technology has been narrowed down means directly don't deploy them for all the cases of application. Perform pilot testing, implement for one machine, for one particular small aspect, check whether it is doing well, whether the technology is doing good or not. If it is not performing to the expectation, think of discontinuing the service. If it is doing extraordinarily well, then go for scalability. Okay, do not, so that our decision with respect to the technology and the investment is minimum. The risk what we take is a minimum. So that's how the process has to be considered. Now, having done all these things, now you come for the decision. Make the decision, let the decision be in a very systematic play, and now the decision is arrived. Try to monitor and review the activities, the performance of the machine, what we newly purchased. Think whether it is doing justification for the process or for the activity for which it has been brought inside the organization. So review it nicely among the multifunctional team. Okay. So with this, we come to the end of the presentation. So before I wind the presentation, let us summarize the things what we learned. So we learned about two important things. The first thing was with respect to technological decisions and the investment decisions. So two things, two strategies. One was business factors and the second thing was technical factors. So under these things, the options what we have narrowed down should be nicely thought of. It should be evaluated against all these activities. Then we should migrate for the case of application. So come out with the pilot testing, do only for a small area, analyze whether it is doing well. If it is doing well, go ahead. If not, try to terminate the service, think of some other alternatives. Right from vendor, it has to be thought of. Okay, so these all are the things what we learned in the summary. So before I close down, any doubts, please note it down. During our offline classes we can discuss, or during online discussions we can take it up, or reach out me for the case of any doubt clarification. So thank you students, thank you for your kind observation. Thank you.